Hi, I'm Jeffrey Thomas, and welcome to a new segment of our YouTube channel, Daily Airline News. And this is called My Crazy Aviation Journey. This series is going to chronicle all the crazy, funny, sad um, things that have happened to me on my aviation journey, which started when I was a teenager too many years ago. And I've recently written a book called My Crazy Aviation Journey, which will be available on Amazon very soon, which will detail some of those. But this series of videos will detail them all over a period of a year or so, because there's been quite a few. So we're going to start off today with the first episode um, with the story about how I found Finnegan, my new best friend. You see, I suffer from motion sickness. Yes, I know I'm an aviation writer and I fly a lot, but I suffer from motion sickness. And in 1984, I had an assignment to go out and visit and report on the USS Carl Vinson, the American aircraft carrier, which was off the coast of Western Australia. Now, I greeted this particular assignment with both excitement and trepidation because I knew what was involved. It wasn't going to be a helicopter trip out to this aircraft carrier. It was going to be what's called an arrested landing. I was going to join the Tailhook Club, as it's called. So my magic carpet to get out to this carrier was an aircraft called the Grumman C2, and it carries about 20 passengers. And when you walk on board, they put the rear platform down and you walk on board. They give you a life jacket, which is very reassuring to start off with. Then they give you a helmet. So your reassurance really starts to take a little bit of a hammering. And they give you earmuffs to keep the noise down because there's no insulation on this aeroplane. And they also give you a visor as well. Then they strap you into the seat with shoulder harnesses as well as a waist harness, which we're used to on a commercial aircraft. And with all military aircraft, you face backwards because it's the safest way of flying. The loadmaster, which is the military equivalent of a flight attendant, he gives you a demonstration, the safety drill. The safety drill is really simple. And he said, if we crash and land in the sea upright, the exit's in the roof, and he motioned above him. And then he said, if we flip and land upside down, the exit's in the floor, and he motioned down towards his feet. And then he told us, just keep your eyes on me. When I wave my hand above my head, we're going down. Again, not very good phraseology. It should have been, we're going to have a nice descent down to the aircraft carrier, but no, we're going down. And indeed we did. It took us 2.5 to 3 hours to get out to this carrier. It was a wild, stormy day, and in fact, we almost didn't go. And when he waved his hand, we had a sickening descent down to this carrier. And as the pilot was trying to line up with this pitching aircraft carrier, the engines were going up and down and up and down, and we were going side to side. And I was feeling more and more uneasy, thinking what on earth is going to happen. And then it did. We crashed onto the deck. You don't touch down, you crash onto the deck. And the hook, and it deploys a hook, picked up one of the wires. And as soon as it picked up that wire, we pulled approximately 4 to 5 G's of force, which is a massive amount of force. And with that, I lost breakfast and the lunch the day before and the breakfast the day before that. I lost everything. I was so ill and I simply couldn't walk. And they sent two big African Americans to get me, great big strapping basketball players. I'm sure they went on to be basketball players. And they took me to the admiral's cabin, and the admiral took one look at me and said, "Get that boy to sick bay." Oh, and so down I went 5 flights of stairs, uh, aided by these two big African American dudes, really nice guys. And they took me to the doctor's surgery, which was another 50 meters away past the long queue of sailors wanting medications. And he looked at me and said, you've come in on the cod. Now, this aeroplane, as I mentioned, is called the Grumman C2. The name COD is Carrier Onboard Delivery. And obviously, my condition was nothing new. And so he said to me, take one of these pills, one of these pills and one of these pills, and lie down over there, and you'll be right in 30 minutes. Now, last time I was this ill, I thought to myself, was when my sister, Leslie, talked me into going on the Gee Whiz at the Royal Show. And I was sick for 24 hours. I was very, very ill. Anyway, I took the two pills, Phenergan, as I've suggested, and ephedrine. Ephedrine's an upper. You don't actually need the upper, but they issue it for the US Navy sailors because they need them to be alert and not drowsy, because that's what Phenergan makes you drowsy. Anyway, 30 minutes later, I was absolutely fine, and I'm walking around, no issues whatsoever, as though nothing had ever happened. And interestingly enough, 2 years later, I flew out to the same aircraft carrier, again for another assignment, and we did a touch and go landing because the hook did not pick up the wire, and so we took off and we did a gut-wrenching turn to the left to rejoin the pattern and come in for another approach. On the second approach, we got waved off because the wires were not back and taut enough. So we did another gut-wrenching turn and rejoined the pattern, and then we did touch down on the third attempt, and no problems. Didn't feel a thing. It was absolutely fine. And on this particular trip, we did a catapult takeoff, which was an amazing experience. And in that experience, you take your glasses off, you put them into your pocket, you hold onto the straps over your shoulders from the shoulder harness, and you bend your head forward and you wait while the aeroplane revs up to full power, and then suddenly it is rocketed off the aircraft carrier, and the sensation is going vertical. And after a minute or so, that sensation disappears, and you just feel like, oh, well, I'm flying. And that's it, over and done with. You are flying. And again, no issues. I took the Phenergan before the catapult takeoff, and it absolutely worked. So if you suffer from motion sickness, seasickness, air sickness, car sickness, use Phenergan, use it responsibly. In Australia, anyway, you can buy it over the counter. Follow the instructions, and you'll be absolutely fine. I can assure you of that. And so this is the first installment of my crazy aviation journey. Next week, I'm going to tell you about how I missed out on a trip on the Concorde. How is that possible? Well, and it's an interesting story. So please subscribe to us. Also, you can now join us and support us to deliver responsible journalism to you. And we'd very much appreciate your support. That would be absolutely wonderful. So there's two buttons there, subscribe and or join. And do please tune in again for another episode of my crazy aviation journey. I'm Jeffrey Thomas. Thank you.